You're listening to The Real Short Box, a comic book podcast made for geeks by geeks.
Last time on The Real Short Box, Darin, Kevin, and Donald were discussing Indiana Jones and its history, as well as Alan Quarterman. They talked about the Temple of Doom, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and The Last Crusade, and also that weird one called the Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls.
That's coming up. But until then, let's get started, gentlemen.
Welcome back. I mean, dude, how did you employ that person? Like, I didn't know that you could find serial guy from the 50s to intro in this episode.
I think he was locked up in some asylum somewhere.
He's pretty old. It's my father.
He has to be at least 108 years old, that guy.
Well, I don't know if he's 108 years old. You know what it is? I think it's the Beeve. I think the Beeve from Leave It to Beaver is now grown up.
It's the new Leave It to Beaver show with Eddie Haskell in
sure
the starring role.
Yeah. Oh, no, he is. He had a great cameo in Married with Children.
You don't say.
Like 25 years ago.
Oh, I remember that.
Oh, it was so good. He's like the Beeve. But anyway, so for all of you that tuned in last time and were like, oh, we're going to hear about working on the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, I'll be like, yeah, that's going to be this episode. But you know what?
Yeah.
We don't want to do what everyone else is doing. We're going to talk about the movie, The Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and give you the interview last, just to make sure you're not cheating. So, Kevin, what are your thoughts on Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull?
Nuke the fridge.
You know, I like things that involve aliens and alien conspiracies and whatnot. I mean, it's funny to me. It's interesting. But this, unfortunately, was not the best executed of Indiana Jones films. I mean, it was entertaining, but I have to say it is definitely the weakest of the four.
Monkeys.
Yes.
That's all you got to say.
That was the best part during the monkeys.
And yes, you just brought up the refrigerator during a nuclear blast. Yes, that was interesting. And then the plot twist involving... well, I don't want to say a plot twist, but just a plot device. And you find out India has a son, played by the kid from Transformers, and even Steven, Shia LaBeouf.
The Bibbidi Buff. Bibbidi Boobidi Buff. Did you meet him, or was it just me?
I think it was you.
It was just me. I met him. I met him at a comic shop. He created this comic. It was terrible. I'm sorry, Shia. It was awful. But he created this book, and he was dropping them off at all the comic shops on Free Comic Book Day. And he came by, and I happened to be dressed as old school Hawkeye at the time. And anybody that wants the picture, I'll send it to you. I'm not ashamed.
Don't be ashamed.
But he looked homeless at the time, and he smelled kind of bad. And
he had a long night.
I didn't think he smelled bad, but the people I were with was like, "There's an odor." He was very nice, and he was willing to take pictures with everybody and stuff, which was cool. And he seemed like a nice kid. Mm-hmm. Just if you see him in the films, he always, he like gives you like a heart attack. He's all over the place. He seems like he's
well, you're on Megan Fox. What do you expect?
He's Robert Downey Jr. You know what I mean? Like he's got that fire, that move.
Megan Fox and Bumblebee will make you do that.
I know.
I mean, I've seen Megan Fox up close. I know what you mean.
Yeah. So. He was moving, but he was very excited. He was very ADD, so to speak, in a way, but a nice kid nonetheless.
So, in a much classier maneuver, I'm not going to trash Shia LaBeouf for this episode. But
I didn't do it. What?
Did I need to know about his odor, sir? His odor. But anyway. You know, it's funny, if you Google, like, smelliest actors in Hollywood, the list is kind of surprising.
I've heard, like, Johnny Depp was on there, someone told me.
I mean, Johnny Depp.
Allegedly.
You know, it's funny. Let's talk about Johnny Depp, though. There's a 6th degree of Kevin Bacon here with us, too, Darin. Johnny Depp happened to work on a short film for the Make a Film Foundation.
Yes.
Which also, what other actor that could be related to what we're talking about would have been in that film?
Ooh, maybe Richard Chamberlain.
Yes, fuck yeah, Richard Chamberlain and Johnny Depp were both. Darin and I both were in the. We worked on this short film for the Make a Film Foundation. It was directed by Sam Raimi, right?
It's one of the three. Yes, Theodore Melfi as well as
Hardwick.
Catherine Hardwick. Thank you.
Yes, that's right. Catherine was in there, and Catherine did the part with Johnny. and Richard Chamberlain.
Yes, absolutely.
I wasn't there for that, but you were there for that day.
Absolutely.
I was there for the day with Chad Coleman and
J.K. Simmons.
Yes, J.K. Simmons. I was there for that one, and that was fun. That was a lot of enjoyment that we got, and we got to help a kid that was terminally ill make a dream come true, so to speak. He wanted to make a zombie film, and we worked together to make that happen. And he got to see it before he passed.
Yeah, a wonderful kid.
Yeah, it's powerful.
Anthony. It's always good that you bring that up because I have very good memories of Anthony. May he rest in peace.
Yes, good kid. Very nice, very sweet kid. That had this idea for a short film. It was the Black Giandola?
Yes, absolutely.
I think that's the pronunciation. Everybody argues with that. Everybody's like, is it that?
If I recall, he was a young Italian young man. So he was using that Italian... Italian name.
I don't know. He seemed more Latino to me.
I thought he was Italian. But anyway,
that's
important.
Yeah, it wasn't important to me.
Yeah, I mean, but before you ask the question that I know you're inevitably going to get through, no, I did not smell Johnny Depp, so no, I don't know.
No, because someone told me that rumor, like, I was like, okay, I don't know.
I mean, the way that this goes is like when people smoke cigarettes, they have a certain smell.
Odor, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Did he smoke cigarettes? I'm assuming.
I mean, yeah, he would smoke cigarettes, but I mean that's not uncommon. In fact, it's like it's becoming less common. People are switching to vape pens, but it has nothing to do with anything,
right?
With Indiana Jones, except there were a lot of cigarettes being smoked in 1957.
Indeed, they were.
Where the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull takes place.
Yes.
Okay, Donald, did you have any additional thoughts about Indiana Jones Part 4, a film I know you've seen 17 times?
I saw it once, and
Did you cry?
What a turd. I'm sorry. Like, I know that there's some good moments to it, so don't get me wrong. Like, I thought the opening was fun.
Yes.
Even the nuking of the fridge I enjoyed.
Because that was actually, they used to do that in old advertisements of fridges. Your fridge could survive a nuclear blast.
Right, yeah. You get on your fridge and you survive. And little kids would get in their fridge and then they would die.
Because they couldn't get out.
Right. So, maybe not the best advertisement in the world, but I get it. So that was enjoyable. And what's his name? The guy that was the traitor in the mist.
Ray Winstone.
Yes, thank you, Ray Winstone. He was great. He was great, and the lead Russian evil lady.
Kate Blanchett.
Thank you. You're
yes.
so good with names. Kate Blanchett was also really, really good in it. It's just as it got a little further in, once we found out he had a son, it kind of went downhill. But I did like the reintroduction of the lovely lady from the first Indiana.
What's her name? Marion?
Marion Ravenwood.
Yes. Her coming back and saying, oh, by the way, when we had intercourse and you shot up inside of me, I produced a child. And here he is.
And before that, no one had seen Karen Allen in years.
Mm-mm.
I mean, honestly, and this was like not a no-name person. She had a pretty decent career for a good stretch of time. I mean, especially Animal House jumps off the page.
Yeah, anybody that was stooping Spielberg at the time had a pretty good career for a little bit.
Now that's all hearsay now.
It certainly is. It certainly is. Stephen, put me in a film. I'm sorry.
Yes, maybe Ready Player One Part 2.
There we go.
It's interesting. He is still married to Kate Capshaw, who, he
yes,
met
in Temple of Doom.
The Temple of Doom, yeah.
Really? The lady that just screams about everything and cries and...
Yeah.
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 Oh, boy, what
she's
a peach, that lady. Yeah. You're putting her hand in there to pull the lever to save their goddamn life. It was just too much work for her.
I'm sorry, are we boring you out there? Okay, maybe we should do this. Maybe we should really talk about what
tell
it's
us
like
a story. Tell us a story, Uncle Darin.
Before you, I now present.
Uh-oh, what is this?
This is my stunt player's contract.
Wow.
Jesus, would you chew on the end of it?
It's like almost like parchment paper, if you recall parchment paper. You might as well burn the edges a little bit.
Employment of stunt performer, daily motion picture contract. Date of employment starts August 22nd, 2007.
That's right. And what film was I working on according to this contract?
Let's see. What does it say? It says Untitled Genre Project.
Which means you had to have signed an NDA, I bet.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I did.
How long was that NDA for?
I mean, the NDA is till the film comes out. So essentially, you can spill the beans anywhere. I'm not pulling this out. There's some hair in here, which is...
I'm about to pull it out.
Oh, what? Kevin! Oh, that's a dick joke.
No, it's not.
Kevin with the dick joke.
it's not.
By the way,
Congratulations.
my mom doesn't care for the dick jokes, but you know she's also not a listener of every episode.
Well, she's gonna listen to this one. She's gonna be like, "Hey, dick joke."
All right, so I appreciate you not giving out my social security number.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
So, everything in this process starts with casting, right?
As
You
always,
you
just-
always have to be in the casting room.
Just like Iron Man, I remember.
For sure. So they called me up specifically, and they said I was picture picked to work on the Untitled Genre Project.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Ooh la la.
So was I picture picked by Steven Spielberg? Yes. Do some people care? Probably. Do others not? Of course not. So there you go. It was great. It was a nice, pleasant phone call to be like, you're gonna work on this. So of course I had to ask, because you could sometimes when you talk to people over the phone, you can see if they can maybe, for lack of a better term, be had. Like, can you get more information out of them? So I asked, I was like, okay, what is the Entitled Genre Project? They said, oh, I'm sorry, but, it's a secret.
Right.
I said, well, I understand, but the reason I'm doing this is very practical. I may have a very, very particular set of skills that could possibly really help you out with this film.
Wait. I don't know who you are. I don't know what you've done. I have a very particular set of skills. If you let my daughter go now, that'll be the end of it. I will not look for you. I will not pursue you. But if you don't, I will look for you. I will find you, and I will kill you.
Good luck.
That is from which Liam Neeson film?
The classic film
Taken. Yes, I learned that for the... By the way, I did this web series called The Blue Beetle Ted Cord Returns. And in season 3, which Darin played Maxwell Lord, the bad guy in that series.
Who murdered him.
Yes, we did a dialogue between the two of us where I grabbed you by the throat and recited the scene from Taken. So that I don't know, that just reminded me of that.
As a great memory of mine, and to all of you out there listening, that's what we call filler. So I did say I may have a so now I really didn't know what this movie was. I just knew it was an Untitled Genre Project. So this lady was so kind. I will not reveal who she is.
Of course not.
She was so kind, and she said, "It's Indiana Jones, and they're going to be doing 3 weeks in Los Angeles." Now,
Did you drop the phone and had a heart attack?
Was your dick out then, or did it come out later? Like,
we should not talk about my dick.
Your mom's gonna be so pissed.
What I did say, let me tell you what I did say to her though. I said, you know what? You are actually in luck, which is rare. Like, I mean, usually these people, you know how it goes. They'll lie about anything. Oh yeah, I'm an expert golfer. Oh yeah, I know everything about dune buggies. Like,
ride a motorcycle,
whatever they want, right? But I said, I actually spent 6 weeks in Mongolia on an archaeological dig. So I actually did potentially have skills that were very pertinent to what they were doing, because it's Indiana Jones, right? Lo and behold, this is the least adventurous of them all. And all that stuff was being shot in another country.
Oh.
But I digress. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but it makes me sound smart. So there's some interesting memories on this, to say the least. So I remember we had a 6 a.m. call time, because everything's a 6 a.m. call time. This is just how this seems to work. So the movie takes place in 1957. There is this obsession with our wardrobe department to say that you're a 42 waist. I'm like, there is no way in the world I'm a 42 waist. Like, yes, you are. I'm like, no, I'm not. I am a 36. I've been a 36 since I was 15.
My dad was a 42 waist. He weighed 267 pounds.
Filler. Hi, Mr. McKinney. So anyway,
I'm a 34 waist, just in case you want to know.
I did actually.
He's single too. Kevin's single.
Okay, so I keep asking him, like, no, you're 42. I didn't know that I had to wear them halfway up my stomach. This apparently was a thing, and on this particular set, they were very obsessed about that. It's period wardrobe. I get it. You know, it's just, I understand, but it was that more than anything else. Not the way the shirt fit, not the way the shoes fit. That stupid pull it up. Okay. So we were shooting on the Paramount backlot on New York Street, for all of those people who are wondering, where were these scenes filmed? Because there were so few of them shot in Los Angeles. So, as always, you know, last week I remember, or not last week, excuse me, last episode when we talked about Iron Man, you remember that you're like, wow, you really lived out this dream, and so and be like, yeah, I can't imagine it happened. Well, now
Pictures loves you.
Now it happened a second time. So now like the effect is not quite the same.
Right.
So
you're getting spoiled at this point.
For all of you out there, yes, your dreams do come true. Don't let anyone tell you different. But anyway, so we're over on New York Street. We're just right on the corner there. Every time I walk by there, like those mental pictures do go in your head. Not John Cicada style, just me style. That's it.
John Cicada, actually, he was the lead in Cabaret when I went to see it off Broadway in New York back in 2003.
He was the MC?
Yes, he was.
Wow.
He took over for Alan Cummings. I just got to New York when Alan Cummings left and John Cicada took over, but I will tell you, he was fantastic.
Well, I mean, he's a great singer, obviously.
Yes.
But
he's a great performer, too. My hat's off.
But I figure Alan Cummings would probably have done that role perfectly.
I really wanted to see Alan Cummings, but to be fair, for the Rush tickets I got and the price I paid, I was so happy, and I was very pleased with John Cicada.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
I wouldn't doubt that for a second.
So about the filler. Back to you.
Yeah. So anyway, and after the commercial break, so what happens is that I show up. One of the first things I notice is, of course, Steven Spielberg's going to be on a set of a movie he's directing. But what really surprised me was George Lucas does not appear on set really all that often. And George Lucas was there. And then that's when you have those moments. And I don't like to get into feelings too much, but there was that moment where I paused for a second. I'm like, it's not like they're body doubles. That's like really them.
Right.
That's it, regardless of how you feel, I like both of them a lot.
Oh, yeah. And okay, to see somebody in person like that, you see them on the street or whatever at a restaurant or whatever, that's cool and all. But to be on set on a film that they've spearheaded, that they've came up with the idea for, the essence, the core essence of that character in that film, to be on set at the time that they're on set, that's meaningful to anybody.
Yeah, and I absolutely would say that as much as I love Iron Man, I am a bigger Indiana Jones fan than I am an Iron Man fan. And just this idea of like you're in this world and you're seeing two icons, not only to the world, but to yourself. I mean, I know these guys get maligned sometimes, but George Lucas's contributions are long lasting. Like all the ability we have with digital effects and CGI.
And let's not forget Pixar. Pixar was started under his...
Right.
Yes, and we're talking about, I'm trying to be like very general, but like even sound development with THX sound.
Yes.
And things like, and Steven Spielberg obviously is the most recognized commercial director in the world. And I mean, when people like to pick on him for this, that, and the other, I'm like, oh no, but stuff like Catch Me If You Can is a very underrated Spielberg film. There's all sorts
Minority Report.
There's so many great things he made. Just people like to focus on one or two
Not
things.
E.T. Let's just throw that out.
I'm not an
there.
E.T. guy.
Yeah, neither am I.
Nope,
I saw
it.
I saw it for the first time maybe like 10 years
Eat
ago.
a dick.
And I was like,
right?
It's okay.
What
It's
a
okay.
piece of shit. I'm
It's okay.
sorry,
It's
Spielberg.
okay.
E.T. is an asshole.
Now, what's interesting too is I saw that. What's funny is a good segue into this. This was until this July. This was the most secured set I've ever seen.
Really?
Yes, we had someone who was literally, his position was called the confidentiality commander.
Oh, did they check your butt?
Oh, wouldn't you like to know? So what happens is we're doing this like confidentiality commander. This guy is like, no phones on the set. For practical reasons, it's 1957. I get it. Also, too, you don't want to leak things out, and Steven was very particular about that. He's like, I don't want to do that. Now, in July, when I worked on the latest Tarantino film, that was even more strict. Which is interesting because I was like, wow, I never thought I'd see anything more strict than Indiana Jones. But
oh, that's right. You worked on the well, I guess I can't say what it is. I know what it is, but I'm not going to say what it is.
Yeah. So yeah, we had him, and slowly but surely, as these like surreal moments are happening, it's like, you don't expect to be there. You don't. I mean, there's like this small window. I can't stress this enough. There's 3 weeks they're in this freaking city, as far as I know. At the time, that's what they were telling us. They could have been there longer, but in that initial plan, it was 3 weeks, this, that, and the other. So you're like, this is a small window to be in something you gravely idolize. And it was just something. And then you see like Harrison Ford and, Shia was playing with his switchblade because he really, much like Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight, he had to really master the switchblade.
Right.
To be like...
Especially that 1950s,
to be a true greaser.
Right. Yeah.
To be a true greaser. And I was his arch nemesis, the Letterman. Or as they would call him, letter jackets, which is it's not what I'm familiar with.
Gross.
Yeah. So Harrison is a very quiet guy, generally speaking. But he did make one joke that really made me laugh, but it made me cry later when I started thinking about it. He's like, okay, so Steven's like, Harrison, so at this moment, you're gonna catch your hat right here. And he's like, Steven, I'm pretty sure we did that in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Do we really want to recreate that? And I'm just like, wow, that's right. They're running out of ideas.
How he could even remember that, He's incredible.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Raiders of the Lost Ark. How many years ago was that? You know what I mean? It's like 20 years?
The year I was born.
Yeah,
and
crazy.
At that time, it would have been 27 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's nuts.
That's crazy. So, so the action starts beginning. So I'm in the scene, essentially, doing stunt work for... there's a big fight in a 1950s style diner, which I'm all for. Big fights in 1950s style diners,
right.
Especially while burgers are being served.
Throw them milkshakes.
Yeah,
I'll drink your milkshake.
And burgers being served where someone's literally being served on
God,
the floor.
I love cheeseburgers. I'm sorry.
Man, and when those 1950s diners were just so popular in the 80s. Anyway,
jukeboxes, yeah, go ahead.
So they say, okay, we are going to choreograph, obviously, a very large fight. And they said, okay. Darin, come here. Got something for you here. I'm like, oh, this just ought to be incredible. There's a gentleman, he may be like 115 pounds. He was doing these things called, it's like a mixture of a corkscrew and a swan dive off the bar. And I have to catch him 18 times.
Oh.
Now, something people may or may not know about stunts. The stunts... They're not necessarily, fight stunts are not necessarily difficult.
Let's be clear real quick. You've had some background in wrestling.
Yes.
So you can take a hit and you can catch pretty well.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
Okay.
That's one of those things, you don't want to lie about that.
Right.
Because if you do, you're going to hurt people very seriously, especially a corkscrew dive. Oftentimes, he's coming head first into the ground. So you do not want to be hurting somebody like that.
Yeah.
And like I said, a lot of people exaggerate their abilities. That's one I'm like, no, I can do that. That's not an issue. And 18 times I did catch him. I hit my head on the floor. I had my shins beat down because somebody placed a table in the wrong area. I mean, I had to get taped up a couple of times because I was bleeding. But, it's just the first 2 times, it's not that hard. But when you do 18 takes of the same stunt, the pain starts to set in. This is just how this goes. So for those of you looking to be stunt people in the future, the reason your technique is so important is because you're never going to get it in one take. Just always be prepared for that. So we have this big fight in the diner. I'm in the movie, which is great, but my catching of the swan dive is not, which was highly disappointing because that's a lot of work.
Right.
Man.
I remember I was looking for you, and then I did see you, and I was like, oh, there's Darin. Again, I was like, oh, God damn, it took me right out of the film. But, you were right there, very visible, so we could see you. But, yeah, that action sequence there was not there. So,
yeah,
that is disappointing.
Which, by the way, my old roommate, Hakeem, he texted me last week, like, hey, is that Darin from the podcast? And he found your scene from Iron Man, and the bartender said he actually screenshot it, and he sent it to me. He's like, "Yep, that's him."
Oh, thank him.
Nice.
Thank him for me. That's really cool. It's interesting. We broke for lunch. I distinctly remember this. So we had lobster tail for lunch, which was a first for me at the time.
Lobster tail,
and it was probably because of Lucas, right?
It was because of Lucas.
Oh, that fat son of a bitch!
Because he was only there 1 of 2 days. He was not there both days. So, Lucas was there, and we had the lobster tail and stuff. And I distinctly remember, trust me, I don't do this very often.
Lobster tail.
I don't do this very often. I ran back to the set after lunch because I did not want to lose my spot. I wasn't going to lose it anyway because of continuity. But, man, things go through your head, and you're like, this is real fun. And I remember one time I caught a person, I'm on my back, and I will never forget the second they yelled cut, George Lucas walks by with a fudgesicle. And he says, I got ice cream over there. And just resumed his business.
Wow.
I'm not saying the man is this, that, or the other, but I am saying that he alerted everybody as soon as they yelled cut. that they had ice cream at craft service.
Wow.
I don't think he realized how funny that was.
That's hilarious.
Because we were like, we were knocking heads in there, man. Like, that was not a light fight scene. Like, people were getting hurt. And he just walks by with a fudge sickle. And I got ice cream over there.
Wow.
And it never escaped me.
That's funny.
Oh, man. But, yeah, Indiana Jones, I mean, it was something else. I mean, the show, or the film at the time, was shooting literally a block south of me. And I said, you know what? I'm going to drive anyway. Forget walk. I'm going to drive to this thing because this is outstanding. And yeah, that was my most famous stunt, utility stunts. And to this day, like I'm just so glad that all the reruns come on and everything like that. And you can always be taken back to that.
By the way, do you get to taste the residual checks from the movie?
Of course. Yeah. When you're on,
they taste good. They taste good, don't they?
Well, I don't eat them, Kevin.
Oh.
But I don't smell them either.
Oh.
Like
I
these
would.
alleged smelly actors.
Oh.
But yeah,
Johnny Depp smells every one of his residual checks.
Yeah, on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Now, what's different about this from Iron Man, I didn't really interact with the principals. And I mean, you see me, like Harrison Ford's literally rubbing up against me in the take. Like, we're all
Did you get a chance to rub shoulders and talk, like, hey, brother Harrison?
No, he's a very focused guy, and I respect that. I think people, they get caught in their moment. And,
stay out of their way.
And a lot of people are like, you know what? They're like, oh, Harrison kind of plays the same guy all the time. That may be, it may not be, but the guy is preparing a character. Like, he just doesn't show up.
He's an iconic guy who's been in the business for 45 years at least.
Right, and you got to admit, though, you look at Han Solo and you look at Indiana Jones.
And Jack Ryan.
Those are two separate characters. Jack Ryan's throw that shit in the fire. We're looking at Indiana Jones and we're looking at Han Solo. Those are two separate characters.
Yeah.
They have differences. You can see it.
Mm-hmm.
When he stepped into his last Star Wars film that he was in, when he stepped into that, it was almost magical. Seeing him, you knew he was Han Solo. Just the way he acted.
Especially that line from the trailer when he said, "Chewie, we're home."
Yeah, and I mean, just like the snippy shit,
it's still there. It's still there.
Attitude that he had.
It's still there.
Still there. He still brought that, and it's just a damn shame. Spoilers, but for what happened with his character, he wanted to get killed off in the original trilogy anyway.
Yeah, Return of the Jedi. Yeah, he wanted to get taken out.
So we all kind of figured that this was going to happen, but it was still a surprise.
Especially the way it happened.
Yeah, and I'm glad you catch these subtleties because a lot of these people that just say, "Oh, he's the same guy in every movie,"
they don't know better.
It's just not true. I mean,
they don't study the art like we have.
Right.
I don't even think you need to study the art. Maybe you need to pay attention.
Yes, observation. Yes,
observation.
Yep. So if we had to pick, let's go across the board. And Darin, you are welcome to pick the film you were in, but people will judge you. What is your favorite Indiana Jones? We'll start with you, Kevin.
My favorite Indiana Jones movie?
Yes.
I actually will agree with you. Last Crusade was actually my favorite.
Last Crusade. Darin, how about you?
I'm going to say Raiders of the Lost Ark, and it's not because I dislike Last Crusade. I actually quite like it. I have lots of memories going to Columbiana Cinema, paying $2 to watch the movie.
Nice.
It's something for me. It's just Raiders of the Lost Ark to me. It flows better. It's not as deep. In which you very absolutely pointed out, great. It's not as deep, but the flow of that movie is great, and they give you goodies that, because I'm fascinated with like biblical imagery and stuff like that. They give you enough to keep you engaged, to really you learn about the Ark of the Covenant as you're watching it.
It perhaps is a perfect introduction to the character.
Oh yeah. With Alfred Molina and that scene in the beginning with all people with the blowguns,
giant rock ball. What was it? UHF? Weird Al's UHF that parodied that so perfectly. Yeah, that became a skit. People would use the sandbag for the replacement of the statue and things and stuff over and over. You would see that. So it's a wonderful film.
Oh, wait, would you guys have like looked at me weird if I would have said the Kingdom Skull?
Yes.
It's my favorite one.
Yeah.
Look, I'm one of those people that the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, the only thing that really bothers me are the monkeys. I mean, really, outside of that, the rest of it's perfectly tolerable to me. The idea with these serials that basically Indiana Jones is in mortal danger roughly every 10 minutes.
Right.
I mean, it's stuck with that.
Yeah.
It's just that what you see is, and this is always bad for a series, there was a staleness to part 4 that I didn't appreciate.
Right.
I think
It's taking too long. That's the problem.
I think any other franchise, honestly, could have got away with it, but not this one. And what I will say that the best part about part 4 is how Janusz Kaminski, the director of photography, managed to shoot and post-colored it in such a way that it literally looked like it was made 1 or 2 years after Last Crusade.
That's true. That's true. Credit where credit is due. Yeah, it looked really well. I mean, it looked great. Just the CGI monkeys were terrible. We're going to agree there.
Oh, God.
Just terrible.
Although the CGI red ants I kind of liked.
Yeah, actually, I did too. I didn't mind that.
Yeah.
I can agree there.
Oh, sorry to interrupt, everyone. Just wanted to mention real quick about a shop in Canoga Park, California called Spiro's Heroes. Elliot, the proprietor of the store, has over 300,000 books in what's called the Temple of Comics. That's Spiro Heroes in Canoga Park. Spiro'sHeroes.com.
But I think that's gonna do us in for this second parter here of the Indiana Jones conversation that we had.
And if you enjoyed it, please leave us comments in the comments section on YouTube.
Yeah, and follow us on iTunes, Instagram, Facebook. You can comment on there. We're not on MySpace anymore. I'm sorry, guys. It just isn't. It's not a popular platform. But please search us out. If you have questions or anything you want to reach out to us, shoot us an email. We're more than welcome. Happy to have that. So with that, I'm Donald.
I'm Darin, and before I'm sorry, I just want to say something.
Sure.
I want to thank you so much for having me here. Like, it really helps me rechannel these memories. It's a great time. I really enjoy this podcast.
Well, we don't mind. You actually pay us to be here, so that's perfectly fine.
But sadly, like, I mean, I feel like that story I just shared about working on Indiana Jones, I think the only thing people are going to retain are fudgesicles.
That's I did. I love fudgesicles. But that's Darin, and who are you?
My name is Dr. Kevin.
Oh, shit. I didn't know you got your degree. Congratulations. And if anybody else gets their degree, we can talk about it when we see you
At the comic shop.
This has been The Real Short Box. We'll see you at the comic shop. Thanks for listening.